The courtroom was silent, heavy with tension. Even the faint sound of a clock ticking seemed too loud. Elena Brooks sat still at the plaintiff's table, her brown hands folded tightly in her lap. Her eyes were red from nights spent crying, but her face was calm. Across the room sat Daniel, her husband of 8 years, the man she had loved more than life itself. He sat with another woman, his mistress, Samantha, her manicured hand resting proudly on his arm. The judge looked down at the papers in front of him. "Mr. Brooks," he said, his voice echoing through the quiet room, "do you understand the consequences of signing these divorce documents today?" Daniel shrugged casually. "Yes, Your Honor. I'm ready to move on." Samantha smiled, leaning close to him, whispering something that made him chuckle under his breath. Elena's chest tightened, but she held her head high. She wouldn't cry, not here, not now. 6 months earlier, she had discovered the affair. It was a night she would never forget. She had been working a double shift at the hospital, staying late to earn extra money, money that went into Daniel's new business, the cafe he said would change their lives. When she came home early, exhausted but excited to surprise him, she walked through the door and froze. Daniel was on the couch, half-dressed, laughing, wrapped around Samantha, the same woman who had come to their home many times before, pretending to be just a business partner. Elena remembered hearing him say, "She's too good, too boring. She doesn't get me like you do." That sentence shattered something inside her. Now, in the courtroom, the final act of betrayal was unfolding in front of her. The judge cleared his throat. "Mrs. Brooks, do you also wish to proceed with this divorce?" Elena nodded. "Yes, Your Honor." Her voice didn't tremble, though her hands did. She had loved Daniel through everything, through late bills, through sickness, through the nights when they had nothing but hope. She believed in his dreams. She believed in them. But he had chosen someone else, and now, she was choosing herself. The judge continued the formalities. Lawyers murmured, papers rustled, pens clicked. Then came the signing. Daniel picked up the pen first, scribbling his name with a smug grin. "Good riddance," he muttered softly. Elena took the pen next. Her grip was steady. She signed her name quietly, her heart breaking in 1,000 silent pieces, and handed the papers back without looking at him. The judge studied her for a long moment before speaking again. "Before we finalize this, I need to confirm all financial disclosures were made." "Mrs. Brooks?" "Yes, Your Honor. Everything I had is accounted for." The judge turned to Daniel. "And you, Mr. Brooks?" Daniel smirked. "Of course. We've been fair." The judge frowned slightly, flipping through the file. "Interesting, because it appears that Mrs. Brooks has been the primary income earner for 4 years, while your business, this cafe, has been operating at a loss." Daniel blinked. Samantha's confident smile began to fade. The judge went on. "And the cafe property is listed under Mrs. Brooks' name, not yours." Elena's lawyer stood. "That's correct, Your Honor. My client used her own savings, overtime pay, and personal loan to finance the entire operation. We have receipts." Silence filled the room. Daniel's jaw tightened. "So," the judge said slowly, "you've been living off your wife's earnings, funding a business she built, while maintaining an affair with your partner?" His eyes burned into Daniel's. "And now, you expect to walk away without consequence?" Daniel stammered. Your Honor, it's not like that." The judge raised a hand. "Enough." He signed a few papers swiftly. "Mrs. Brooks will retain controlling ownership of the cafe and receive spousal support for the next 5 years. Mr. Brooks, your actions have consequences." Samantha turned to Daniel sharply. "You said she didn't pay for anything." The judge's tone grew colder. "Mr. Brooks, dreams built on lies collapse eventually. You should have remembered that before you built yours on deceit." Daniel's face drained of color. Samantha grabbed her purse and stormed out, her heels echoing against the marble floor. Daniel sat motionless, defeated. Elena remained still, her heart pounding. For the first time in months, she wasn't the one breaking. The judge finalized the order. Divorce granted. Mrs. Brooks, I hope this marks the start of your healing. Mr. Brooks, I hope you learned something from what you've lost. As Elena walked out of the courtroom, the air felt different, lighter. Her lawyer smiled gently. You handled yourself with grace. You'll see, this is your new beginning. Outside, sunlight poured over her face. She took a deep breath and felt warmth instead of pain. She didn't know exactly where life would take her now, but she knew she'd never be the same woman who walked into that courtroom. Weeks passed. She sold their old house and moved into a cozy apartment with tall windows that flooded her mornings with light. She took over the cafe, renaming it Second Sunrise. She thought about selling it at first, but something inside her said no. She needed to rebuild, not erase. She painted the walls bright and cheerful. She filled the shelves with local art and opened the space to the community. Every Friday, she hosted open mic nights where anyone could share poetry, stories, or dreams. The cafe became a place of peace and purpose, filled with laughter and warmth. One day, months later, the doorbell chimed, and she looked up to see Daniel walk in. His hair was messy, his clothes creased, his confidence gone. He hesitated before speaking. Elena. You look different. I am, she said, smiling faintly. He glanced around the cafe. You kept it. I rebuilt it, she said softly. You gave up before it ever had a chance. Daniel's eyes fell to the floor. I lost everything. Samantha left. The new cafe I tried to open failed. I just came to say I'm sorry. Elena wiped the counter slowly. I believe you, she said, her voice calm. And I forgive you. But I've moved on. Daniel nodded, eyes wet. You deserve better than what I gave you. She gave a small smile. I know. He turned and left quietly. When the door closed behind him, she felt a strange peace settle over her. The pain that once lived in her chest was gone. In its place was strength. That evening, as the cafe filled with soft music and laughter, Elena sat near the window with a warm cup of tea. The sun was setting, painting the sky with streaks of gold and pink. A young woman took the stage at open mic night and began to read a poem about healing. Sometimes endings aren't tragedies, she said. They're directions. Elena's eyes softened. That was it. That was her truth. The divorce, the betrayal, the heartbreak, it hadn't been the end of her story. It was the beginning. She thought about the judge's words, about how sometimes life gives you pain not to destroy you, but to wake you up. She whispered quietly to herself, love will find me again, but this time, it'll never ask me to shrink. Outside, the city lights flickered to life. Inside, laughter and music wrapped around her like warmth. She walked to the door and turned the sign from closed to open. Her heart was open too, free, strong, and ready for everything beautiful waiting ahead.